Failure is a word that stings. It conjures images of shattered dreams, public humiliation, or moments when our best efforts collapse like a house of cards. Yet, beneath its bitter surface lies a paradox. Failure, far from being the enemy of success, is often its most profound catalyst for those willing to embrace it. Setbacks can transmute into stepping stones, forging resilience, insight, and ultimately, triumph. This is the alchemy of personal growth, a process as old as humanity itself, yet endlessly relevant in our modern, high-stakes world. Consider the trajectory of J.K. Rowling, whose name now evokes literary stardom. Before Harry Potter bewitched the globe, Rowling was a struggling single mother, teetering on the edge of despair. Her manuscript, scribbled in cafes while her infant daughter napped, was rejected by 12 publishers. Each no could have been a full stop, a signal to abandon her quixotic pursuit. Instead, she pressed on, fueled by a stubborn conviction that her story mattered. When Bloomsbury finally took a chance on her in 1997, the rest became history. A billion-dollar franchise, millions of enchanted readers, and a legacy of perseverance. Rowling's tale underscores a truth we often overlook. Failure doesn't define us, it refines us. But this isn't just the stuff of celebrity lore. Everyday lives brim with similar, if less heralded, metamorphoses. Take Ahmad, a Syrian refugee who fled war-torn Aleppo in 2015, arriving in Germany with little more than a battered suitcase and fractured English. He faced rejection after rejection in his job hunt. Employers balked at his lack of local credentials, and his halting language skills didn't help. Undeterred, Ahmad enrolled in a coding bootcamp, spending sleepless nights wrestling with syntax and algorithms. 2 years later, he landed a role at a tech startup. His once meager prospects transformed into a flourishing career. What fueled his ascent? Not innate genius, but a willingness to confront failure head-on, to see each closed door as an invitation to knock harder. The science of this phenomenon is as compelling as the stories. Psychologists like Carol Dweck have long championed the growth mindset, the belief that abilities aren't fixed but can be honed through effort and adversity. When we stumble, our brains don't merely register defeat, they rewire. Neuroplasticity kicks in, forging new pathways as we adapt to challenges. A botched presentation at work, a soured relationship, a project that implodes. Each misstep, when dissected and learned from, becomes a masterclass in resilience. Failure, in this light, isn't a dead end, it's a detour to a sharper, more capable self. Yet, embracing this isn't easy. Society lionizes success, the gleaming trophies, the viral accolades, while sweeping flops under the rug. We're conditioned to dread the fall, to equate mistakes with shame. This cultural aversion can paralyze us, locking us into safe, stagnant patterns. Breaking free demands a radical shift, reframing failure as feedback, not finality. It's a mindset that asks us to lean into discomfort, to sift through the wreckage of our misfires for glimmers of wisdom. Easier said than done, of course, when the sting of defeat is fresh. Platitudes about learning opportunities can feel hollow, but time and reflection often reveal their truth. History brims with examples that bear this out. Thomas Edison, synonymous with invention, endured thousands of fizzled experiments before illuminating the world with the light bulb. Each dud wasn't a waste but a refinement, a narrowing of what wouldn't work until he struck gold. Similarly, Nelson Mandela's 27 years in prison, decades that could have broken a lesser spirit, honed the resolve that later dismantled apartheid. These icons didn't skirt failure. They waded through it, emerging not unscathed but enriched. So, what does this mean for us, the ordinary strivers? It's an invitation to rethink our own stumbles, Perhaps you've faltered in a career pivot, watched a business venture implode, or let a cherished goal slip through your fingers. The instinct is to bury it, to gloss over the blemish and move on. But what if, instead, you lingered there? What if you mined that rubble for lessons about your limits, your blind spots, your untapped strengths? Personal growth isn't a linear ascent. It's a jagged, winding path, and failure is its most seasoned guide. The alchemy of failure isn't magic. It's method. It begins with curiosity. Why did this go awry? Next comes courage, the grit to try again, armed with new insight. Finally, it demands humility, an admission that we're works in progress, not finished masterpieces. In a world obsessed with overnight success, this slower, messier route can feel counterintuitive. Yet, it's the one that endures. Where do you stand in this dance with defeat? The next time life trips you up, resist the urge to recoil. Pause. Probe. Persist. The triumph you're chasing might just be waiting on the other side of the fall.